now that the mic is actually on. Well, I remembered to put the amp on standby. All right, hang on. Let's turn the mic off. All right, the mic's on. Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Paul Richard. First of all, let's jump in and say again, hello, Zach. Paul Richard, good morning to you. Hello, hello. Safe travels. Griffin Gaines, where are you headed to, Griffin? Eric, what's going on? Good morning. San Clemente, hello, hello, hello. Melissa Doppler, good morning to you. We didn't have much time to chat this morning, but everybody that's here, come on. It's time to... Matt King, let's raise him up. Come on, Matt, great to see you. Hello, that live stream you did sounded great, by the way. Let me know if you're raising him up with me, what it is that you're drinking. This is kind of my protein drink with a couple of shots of Pete's Espresso. Gosh darn it, that makes the morning so much better. All right, well, first of all, great to see you. Thanks so much for hanging out. There is a lot going on in my world, so I've been kind of off in gear demo land. You'll never guess what I may or may not be demoing, but it's been a very busy little period of time for me. But I always love having Saturday morning to just kind of hang out with y'all and talk about stuff. One of the things that's first of all, there we go. Hello, Peach Black Tea. You know, that sounds very nice, very good. Brayton, hello, good morning. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. May the 4th be with you. There you go, come on. Jerry, what's happening, man? Green Day's original brand coffee. Hello to Chicago. So, okay. So the interesting thing is that I've been playing and learning lots of different music in a couple of different environments. You know, first of all, when I'm in demo land, one of the things that I usually try and do is whatever piece of gear that I'm working with, I want it to try and speak to me. Let's see if I can do it with the, yeah, let's see here. Let's do a little bit of this. And so, you know, what ends up happening is I'll come up with some sort of idea, like any of us, and then it's a matter of kind of then going, okay, well, how do we begin to make that idea sound like something musical as opposed to just kind of an idea, right? You know, the interesting thing is I was kind of working on one of these demos yesterday, actually all of them really, as I was going through it, I was realizing I'm not just kind of, you know, coming up with it. I'm actually rehearsing this stuff, which is really funny, the concept of rehearsing parts that are a demo thing. But the idea is building muscle memory. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can fly something in here. Gosh, I hope I don't regret doing this, but let's see how I do. I'm gonna make a copy of this scene first of all, so I don't totally do something stupid. So let's copy this scene. There we go. All right, then I'm gonna go to the copy of the scene, so that way I don't mess anything up midstream, and then I'm gonna find a file, and then let's see how this goes. First of all, thanks again for joining me. And I'm going to pull up this thing. I'm going to mute my mic so I don't totally mess this up. But this is renders. There we go. Thank you. This is me figuring things out on the fly because I want to show kind of the pieces of this. Here we go. Muting. See if I can not do that twice. So the funny thing is it's this little tiny little piece of audio, but gosh darn it. And the other part. you know, that was a little bit of time getting all those little pieces underneath my fingertips. So I was thinking, like, what of that can I share with people, as whatever it is that you're working on, whether it's something that you've made up that you're putting underneath your fingertips, whether it's something that you're studying with. My buddy Chris Alexander always has some great questions, and he's not going to be here today, but one of the things that he sent through was, what was the last song you heard that you felt you had to learn, and when learning a song, do you peek at tab if it's available to speed up the process? So the interesting thing is, a lot of the time when I'm going to say hello to a couple of people in just a moment. I see you. Getting stuff underneath your fingertips is, it's kind of like the analogy of cramming for a final. Maybe not the best topic right now. But if you were cramming for a final, didn't have other distractions. Let's see how close I can get up next to that and not actually get myself into trouble. The idea is that you're permeating your brain with this thing that you kind of stick underneath your cap there and kind of hope when you have to put it to whatever kind of medium you can remember it, versus actually really remembering E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, where you just know it. And the interesting thing about playing things with repetition is that is how you develop that muscle memory where your hands just begin to know. And the other part of that is sometimes in the process of doing that, then you kind of go, well, let me just riff around with this, right? Which is totally okay. And sometimes you find yourself taking a left turn. So that is a very interesting part of this that I just love. All right, first of all, Spencer, great to see you. Practice canceled. All right. Practice optional. Jason Wilding, hello, my dear friend. Great to see you. I can't wait till we're in the same room, in the same place at the same time, hanging out. Gosh darn it. Steven, what's happening, Radar? Always a pleasure. Thank you for that. Hey, Chris, you are here. Wait a second. Checking in, but you got to go to Knoxville. There's a song in The Last Train to Knoxville, right? Anyways, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Eagles, Hotel California Songsters. So thank you. Really appreciate that. So the interesting thing is that let's just use, quote unquote, any song. So there are a couple of choices that we want to make. Is that generally speaking, I've known some of the people that are professional transcribers that if you open up such and such songbook, they don't get paid the better the transcription is. They get paid the same amount regardless of how fast or how slow that they do it. The incentive is not to sit there and massage every note until it's right, And so as an end result, I know there are times I've seen this little, let's get over here, this little bit, as opposed to so on and so forth. There's the right way to play it, and then there's everything else. So you have to decide, are you going to take the time to go, I can hear a ringing. That's probably sounded a little hot on the audio there, which is why I've been stepping on this button on and off. But the point being is that, the number of times I've seen people go, and the notes are right, but it's still not right. So you have to choose what you're going to do. And I'll say this from the work that I did on Guitar Hero. Because for me, it was just like, I got paid the same amount per song, whether I played it exactly like the original arrangement or not. But the experience for people was when they started playing the game to feel as if they were the rock star, right? And so with that in mind, my job was to do the best I could to make it feel like the track. I can say that there were certain things they did if the track sped up and slowed down. Without going into any more specifics, they paid attention to that stuff. And so you kind of were trying to repeat that experience so people could repeat that experience. So for me, it was a matter of going, okay, how are they doing this? What string is this starting on and what string is it ending on? And that quite often will tell you the geographical range of where it is in the neck. And most players will play with a certain amount of logic where you can kind of go, the low note or the high note is here. Chances are, if it's a pentatonic thing, pattern number one of the minor pentatonic. If there's a note that's higher than that, well, guess what? They're further up the neck, right? So there's a certain amount of that, but it's not something that's actually taught. And so the transcriptions are usually really well intended, but usually taught by people that aren't in the professional transcription business. There's a, am I going to get his last name right? Hang on. There's a guy that I'm becoming friends with. We're about to become internet buddies. Marco, what is your last name? Marco Tefeli. So Marco Tefeli is a music educator that I signed up for one of his courses. So as y'all might have heard, I'm in the midst of working on this thing, 15-minute fundamentals. And it turns out my new buddy Marco has a kind of thing where you study for 10 minutes a day. And I was like, this I need to investigate. And in all moral conscience, I needed to send him a message saying, hey, I bought your program. I'm on Rhett Shull's mailing list. He sent out this email thing saying, hey, you got to check this out. I'm like, 10 minutes a day? I'm like, that sounds very familiar. And so, but I said, hey, look, I was already working on this, but I wanted to just say, hey, and gosh darn it, you seem to be really on top of it. And he transcribes for a ton of people. So long story short, good morning, John Mello. Hello, hello, hello. So, I've been doing, I've been playing, it's interesting, normally I play at my home church. I play for free. But I got hired by a church that's just down the road here from me to play on Sunday. And so I'm having to kind of figure out the stuff off of the recording. And I'm using all these tools. I'm like, if I didn't know ear training, and by the time you learned, and getting back to the cramming part, you learn 4 songs, it starts kind of stuff starts floating around. As it turns out, Marco gifted me his sight reading and reading for guitar player course. And it wasn't until I was because I don't really read music. I was in a group called Reverse Pick Hold is Imperative. Okay. What is a reverse pick hold? Does that mean flipping the pick like that? Describe. So if we call this foreset and back set, Paul Gilbert used to pick back set where the pick was like this, and now picks like this. Neil Sean is a back set picker. Most people are foreset, again, where the angle of the pick is kind of going down this way to the string as opposed to that way. In any case, back set. Okay, good. It's an interesting thing. So, oh boy. So, we're going to come back to the picking thing because there's meat on that bone in a serious way. So, as I was learning these things, I've got this chicken scrawl that I put down. I'm like, I'm really glad Marco gifted me this course because I need it. Because, I know, it's got this little line, and I've got this chicken scrawl where I'm writing the scale degree numbers, and, I know what key it's in, but I was like, if I didn't know how to go through scale degree numbers and be able to associate things, this would be really hard. So one of the things I want to leave you guys with is, first of all, the concept of being able to go, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1. All right, so let's say 1, 6, 7, 3. Find some different ways to play it. And begin to kind of associate those numbers so if you hear some melody, you can kind of begin to go, oh, that's what this is, right? Now, here's one of the other really important things that I'm at the very precipice of understanding it. One of my favorite exercises is this exercise called the triad chord relay. I basically, every day, will play it diatonically. So basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. I don't know why I'm playing a minor chord at the 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, so on and so forth. So the idea is being able to go, hey, you know what? Eric, what's happening, my man? I'm not going to take that bait just yet. So, so good morning to you. So here's the thing about, I think it's solfege. I think is the name of it. The challenge is that if you look at our litmus test, our measuring tape, I guess my tape measure is hiding. There it is. You know, ultimately, if we look at what's written on the measuring tape and you look at written music, I don't see any do, re, mi's. I see some note names, and when I study ear training in classical music, I'm singing 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the point being about all of this, yeah, so busted. Hello, Michael. Hangs his head in shame. So the interesting thing about this is, like, you know, the number of times that I have showed up at a gig and they handed me music is 0. But in the process of being a music educator, one of the things that I've had a passion about for probably, I would say 2 decades, but it's more like 3, is showing people the underpinnings that people who read music understand. That is to say, if you saw this chord, even if it were in tune, you would know its notes are G, B, and D, even though I'm, you know, detuned here. And that understanding means that you have the ability, kind of by the way it's spaced on the lines or the spaces, you kind of know it's 3 notes that are kind of successive lines or successive spaces. So it basically means that there's a note in between that you're kind of leapfrogging over. And those notes are either played 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, or 5, 1, 3 is the most common way when they're kind of neighborly like that. And then spread, those are spread triads. Or instead of going 1, 3, 5, or 3, 5, 1, or 5, 1, 3, it's going 1, 5, 3, 3, 1, 5, 5, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 5, 3. And those guys are really neat sounding chords and be able to navigate with them. So, you know, I've spent a lot of time pulling this apart and trying to show it to people so they are fluent. Not only is this 1, 5, 3, sorry. Not only this is 1, 3, 5 and G, B, D, this is 1, 5, 3, so that's G, D, B, and this is 3, 1, 5. So this is B, G, D, and this is 5, 3, 1, so that is D, B, G, and then this is 1, 5, 3, so this is G, D, B. So you have the ability to kind of work at those different things, but also hear those different things happening there. And the thing, getting back to the triads themselves, is that if you know where the 1, 3, and 5 are, and this is kind of, I learned about 9 to start scale singing. So if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, if you know where the 1, 3, 5, 1 on the upper side of the 1 is the 2, and there's a 1, 3, that 9 upper side of the 3 is the 4, and 1, 3, 5, and on the upper side of the 5 is the 6, and the 1, 1, and the octave, and the lower side of the octave is the 7. So if you know where the 1, 3, 5, you know where the other notes are. And then from there, you learn to kind of, if you get do, da, da, to find the minor second, or an A flat. So the point being is that we never solfege, and this was in the San Francisco Boys Chorus, and then I did a little bit of work with the San Francisco Opera Company through them, and also with Joe Satriani. We never, ever talked about any of that. Nor did Joe Satriani, I'll just say it, ever talk about caged. Ever. It never even came up. Just saying. Now, that is not to bash the concept of being able to go, hey, you know, if I can play, gosh, I hate this voicing. Playing those different C chords and different voicings is actually a huge help to know how to do that. but the ability to kind of go, you know what, rather than playing kind of these chord common shapes, what if we wanted to start playing more interesting chord shapes and playing them diatonically, right? And being able to manipulate chords and build chords. I've got a student, Eric Vaughn. I call him Eric Stevie Ray Vaughn. He pops in and out of here. Good morning, Sonia. Great to see you. Where he's, kind of one of the things that Joe would give his students was Joe pass chords. And the crazy thing about Joe pass chords, finally one day I kind of got the nerve up to go, it's like, Joe, there's no names above these chords. I'm a little miffed. And so the funny thing is, okay. And I'm going to catch up on the comments here because there's some great stuff in there. So he then I've got my Joe Pass chords around here somewhere, which Joe's writing, labeling these chords. But the point being is that Joe very clearly, Satriani, understood what Joe Pass was going after, and there's a reason he had us, get those chords. And one of the things that Joe was big on was kind of these modal chords and we would spend a lot of time playing these modal chord progressions, so we learned how to kind of, I'm going to add a little bit. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to put it here. Let's do a little bit of this. How about a little more? So if I'm thinking solfege, I can't translate to like, hey, there's my flat 3, that's going to be a what? That's a C, that's right. So my natural 2 is going to be a B, my flat 2 is going to be a B flat. Scale degree numbers and note names. Things are most commonly referred to in terms of scale degree numbers and note names. That would be my suggested starting place. So if you know your triads, and for example, that's a 3 triad, and you know that the 3 mode goes 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 1, flat 3, 5. If you know that note, or those notes are B, D, and F sharp, then you kind of go, well, then if it's a Phrygian mode, B and C sharp would be a 1 and a natural 2, so B and C, 1 and flat 2. B, C, all right, whole step from the flat 2 to the flat 3, C, D. All right, and we already knew B, D, F sharp as our minor triad, so on and so forth. So you begin to understand how they work as scale degree numbers and note names and scale degree numbers. And that way, you kind of have this working knowledge of being able to look at things from both sides. And that means you're able to kind of make sense of it. But the interesting thing is that I look at a piece of music notation, and I'm like, ooh, not so good. And I'm like, it's the interesting thing is that I believe I mentioned it here before, but I had a student, and gosh, I wish I could remember who it was. Stole Joe's pick size. I love that. The idea is that they said, the grandfather that showed them how to play guitar said, once I know where the notes are, I can play any instrument. I was like, wait a second, what? And so I thought about that. What does that mean? So if I know where the G major scale is, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Sorry, F sharp, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D. All right, I'm building chords, all right? G, D, G, B, D, G. 7 chords. Once you understand the elements of music, and you know that would be normally the notes of that chord would be C, E, G, and that's going to be C, G, E, and that's going to be C, G, E flat. You begin to just kind of know these things, but being able to see that written on the piece of paper means I could look at something without a guitar in my hands and go, I know exactly what that's doing. That's a very powerful thing. That's the equivalent of being able to look at a book and not have to hear, audible to get the story. I'm like, I'm going to be investigating this because I think there are going to be some really valuable lessons for me to learn, even just to kind of take a little shorthand. All right, uh, there we go. So Eric, I got an exercise for you. If we're going to be calling out all of this good stuff, I would suggest first of all getting fluent with the triads: C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, B, D, F, C, E, G, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G. Just get comfortable with going up and down for the key of C. And that was basically taking C major. So the hand. How could I forget that I was going to show you guys the hand today? So if the notes of C major are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, we're going to think of this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. You can call that 8 octave. We're going to think of that just as the 1, because on the other side of that is the 2, 3, so on and so forth, as you continue on. So if you think of C, D, E, F, G, C, E, G, D, E, F, G, A, D, F, A, E, F, G, A, B, E, G, B, F, G, A, B, C, F, A, C, G, A, B, C, D, G, B, D, A, B, C, D, E, A, C, E, B, C, D, E, F, B, sorry, right, B, C, D, E, F, B, D, F. My brain kind of went like, am I in C or am I in G? This is one of the dangers of getting really comfortable with a key. Joe used to describe this G disease, and kind of your brain's just stuck there. All right. That is not true. Oh, that's that's actually not accurate. Some people are very, and I'm not saying this is you. I don't remember the experience other than to say I never discourage people from singing. But the thing is, if you heard me sing, you might be like, Doug, you might not want to think about this singing thing. So the great thing about being able to sing and use the hands like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5. It gets you comfortable with thinking about these things. That is a huge help. So don't be shamed. That's so funny. I was once doing a live stream around a house of worship, and I'm probably going to get myself into trouble for saying this, but there is a whole generation of guitar players that the only way they know how to play in a key is by capoing it and playing open position chords, which in one hand, it means you can play the music, but on the other hand, there's the lack of knowledge of like, hey, there's more than just open position chords with a capo. Now, there's a certain sound for doing it up and down the neck, and just as an aside, I've got a guitar here that's on loan, and there was a guitar that Gibson sent on loan, these two acoustics. One was brighter, one wasn't. The instrument that was not as bassy to make it sound more, or not as bright to make it sound more like the other one, as I capoed it, and I played open position chords further up the neck because that made it sound brighter. And so that way, when you listen to the two guitars side by side, they sounded more like, and you had the benefit of playing different voicings. So it's a really cool little trick. I kind of went out of desperation that I found that. So there are times for capoing, but not at the expense of learning your instrument, in my mostly humble opinion. Mike Rand, how did I miss you? And again, hello, sir. All right, so. Okay, first of all, I am absolutely open to questions because, gosh darn it, I read better on sax and piano. I started sight sing and then play what I could sing, kind of just worked a bit. Then memorized one measure at a time for classical. Then my classical teacher made me do a book by Andrew Caponegro, and it's out of print. Now I super don't give a rat's behind and do what I want. That's so funny. Abdu Bonica, good morning, my dear friend. Great connecting with you again. Your brain works. Your brain works. Music numbers. Cool book to Audible. The funny thing is, the interesting thing is what I'm trying to do with this triad thing. Getting back to this, and thank you for reading shaming me. It's. I've never had the need for it, and ultimately what guitar players do have a need for is they hear an idea like, how do I make sense of what this is? So that is to say, if it's just a fingering, well, to contradict myself, let's go over to this channel. There's this. My favorite example. So we're not thinking about the scale degree numbers and the note names. We're thinking about a shape and a sound. And that is one of the great things about the guitar experience that we never want to lose. Because it is the essence of what makes guitar guitar in terms of just the shapeology, right? But we cannot take that shapeology to some other instrument unless it's like a bass, right? So we're kind of like, go over to the piano, and being able to, if you go to play Freebird on the piano, you're like, I don't know. And this is where this conversation starts to happen. So I have not played Katana Go yet, and so the thing is that in my drawer here, I have this lovely little device that I've spent some time with, that is kind of a on the go size pod, which it's actually really cool. I also have the new Catalyst. So what I'm trying to say is the underlying technology of Line 6 and Boss is just phenomenal. I think the Katana sounds are great. I think the GT line of things are grossly unappreciated. For whatever reason, I think there was a period of time where everybody had a bunch of Boss pedals, and then all of a sudden they became the establishment kind of, so it's no longer quite as cool to have a Boss pedal in the way that it was then, because it's not as boutique-y as some of the newfangled stuff. However, the Boss sounds are great, and having a form factor. This is the interesting thing is part of the conversation is going to happen around this mystery piece of gear that I'm demoing, is talking about form factors and the right speaker enclosures. I've got various speaker enclosures because in different situations there's a different need, and the idea of finding the right form factor for your situation. If you're kicking the tires and kind of go, Katana Go, I really like that size and all of that. Up above my desk is the Positive Grid Spark Live. It's yay big, sounds awesome. It's actually on a pole right above that camera right there. Crazy loud, great piece of technology. The point being is all these companies they've figured out a bunch of stuff about how to make it sound great. So at this point, it's a matter of which features you're looking for, and pretty much all of these boxes, no matter what price point it's at, they all sound great. That said, there is something about playing through the magic of tubes. They will teach you a thing or two. Tom Cutts, good morning to you. Great to see you. Okay, there we go. Hey, Tom. There you go. Hello, my friend. Always a pleasure. Okay, let me see if I've missed any other questions. There was something that I wanted to respond to that I know I saw. That okay. So the interesting thing about this thing is that there's another guy, the Swedish Guitar Method. If you're on Facebook or your phone's listening to me now, you might have seen him serve up something. So I've also subscribed to his program, and one of the things he talks about is isolating left hand and right hand. And it was an interesting thing because traditionally, if I'm wanting to learn, I don't know, 7 chords, I want to make sure that my right hand, let's go over here, let's go over here, my right hand and my left hand sorry, this thing's a little pitchy this morning. Probably didn't like my Freebird rendition. It's like, don't do Freebird in D, dude. No, I guess I was doing it in F technically. But the point being is that, yeah, there you go. Come on, happy guitar. Interesting, the F string. That's so fun to say. The F-in string. Oh, that, yeah, the bendy string went flat in a serious way. The point being is that, say you're working on a song or a demo, an idea is that there's what is it? So that's one of the pieces that I did a demo for yesterday. This isn't obviously quite the right tone for it, but the point being is, there's enough stuff going on there that I kind of just had to train my fingers how to get there. So one of the ways of learning whatever piece of material is just kind of getting and that little part there, it's so easy to play that out of tune because the thumb there's supposed to be a little hammer on there. And that little bit, I don't know about you, but my pinky, that is the least user-friendly finger. So that little bit right there, right? And then if you're not careful, you go to this little hand vibrato, which is a new thing for me. It's not like I haven't done the shaking guitar, but I just wanted to do it as kind of like a hat trick in the video. And it's kind of cool. And then you've got to get this, if you lift up the bass notes, as opposed to, you got to keep the whole hand down. So you get to the very last chord, right? You got to kind of have, this is what I describe to my students as buttering to the edge of the bread, where you're kind of like, all those things. So the interesting part about this, moral of the story of why I'm showing you this, is as follows. I know that when I'm working around a piece of gear like this, that the standard is here. So I kind of have to play up to my capacity as a player to really make sure that the things that I need to do, that's really easy to pull a little note sharp here or there, or press too hard like that, right? So that's as opposed to pulling, there's just pushing into the fret there. And then there's just the performance, right? Where you just kind of, you have played it right so many times that if you play it wrong, there's a greater probability that you're going to actually play it right as opposed to playing it wrong. And there's just finger mistakes that happen. You get distracted. You start thinking about something. But the muscle memory of whatever it is that you're trying to learn, the more you can kind of identify. So, the interesting thing is, there's, all right, I talked about this. last week I played this song. It's got all these crazy little kind of 60s kind of thing. And had I not just been kind of working with my students, kind of going on, we were talking about harmonizing the major scale in thirds. And then the inversion of that. Oh, come on. And that's going to be minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. Oh, come on. Minor, major, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Holy cow. And the idea of being able to kind of make sense of that in your mind is how you kind of begin to navigate things and work through them and have a strategy, because I'm kind of big on strategy, because I don't like really kind of getting out on the river without an oar and kind of, flopping around. So let's see here. Oh, wait. Oh, interesting. Hang on. Gary, so I'm listening to you right now through Positive Grid Spark Live. Not crazy about this speaker, has some added hiss, not dynamic range for my taste. Very interesting feedback. Interesting. And is that this? Because there was this. It's a tube amp, right? But I don't think that's what you meant. I did not notice hiss, but I would love, Jerry, to know, all the things you don't like about it. I've actually been super impressed. It's basically like a PA. The thing that I'm most excited about is channels 3 and 4, I can count, are basically stereo ins, and it's basically kind of a standalone PA system for running tracks, and for in situations where I need to rehearse with tracks. I found my studio monitors, I have a tendency to play loud enough when I start cranking up the amps. The studio monitors were not designed to play at that volume, and it's one of the main things I like. And I love the Bluetooth connectivity. I love having all the access to tones. I'm surprised to hear that the hiss is not you, but might be YouTube. Okay, yeah, do me a favor. I would love to know more about kind of your experiences. Shoot me DougDopplerMusic@gmail.com. It's a little bit of a crazy week, but dish all the things you like, especially all the things you don't like. And I have a little background noise. Where is that coming from? Hold on. I hear that. Hold on. Testing one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, all right. So that's that right there. That was, I've got a little bit of line noise happening. So that probably got rid of it right there. So let me know if that solved the problem. Whatever that is, was it. Okay, yeah. All right, my apologies. All right, so that was me, guilty as charged, but I'm glad we kind of got to the bottom of it. And I can still hear that frequency, but my ears are not what they once were. Okay, awesome. So my apology for anybody that was driving nuts. This triad thing is really valuable because it gives you the ability to hear any chord and kind of go, well, if I know where the 1, 3, and 5 are for the bass note of that chord, then I can know how all the other things are functioning. And or if I want to start building chords, I can do that. Oh, hang on a second. Jerry, try the Boss Katana Air. Awesome. Oh, wait. All right. Jerry, try the ODSS. What's the ODSS? Oh, there we go. The Boss Katana Air. There we go. Air EX. All right. Still love my Very X for composition and performance. No, those are just great guitars. All right, there we go. Love the Spark 40. I have them all. I love that. Okay, well, now that we've discovered that I'm the hiss factor. Okay, thank you, Michael. Okay, good. It has taken me 2 weeks to play Led Zeppelin, babe. I'm going to leave you. Come on, there we go. Comfortably. So this is the whole thing. Is that okay? Getting back to the learning part, you kind of watched me. Hopefully, just do that thing where I started looping pairs of chords because I'm like, let me just get the memory. Hey, Brett. Uh, uh, so I've discovered. Um, so the thing is that there is the part of kind of going, okay, this is what the shapes are, and then there's the part of like, I just need to train my hands to go there, so I'm not thinking about it, because I'm trying to play these things. Ultimately, it's a funny thing that I'm learning, which is how do I not get distracted by whatever hiss, um, fill in the blank, right? Um, that I can focus when it's time to pick up the instrument. To a certain extent. The funny thing is, as much as I've live streamed, Saturdays for quite some time, it's not classically nervous. It's just kind of like to pick up the guitar, right now but and just jump right into a vibe. I'm kind of making sure that Facebook is up and running, and I've got to remember to unmute the mic. And there's all this stuff that are the things that we deal with in the midst of it, and kind of finding your space. So, here's the interesting part that I will also share with you, because, just in case you're wondering, is this just me? We kind of have this cyclical thing where there are times that you pick up the guitar, which I'm sure you know, and you're like, gosh, everything's beautiful. And then you wake up the next morning and like, where's that person that was here yesterday? Can you come back? Same body, same guitar. Maybe I'm supposed to be better today, but you're like, I don't know what happened. And it's just part of how it is. Yesterday, as I was kind of working in demo land, I kind of woke up in the morning and went, this is going to be a good day. And there are days, of course, it goes straight to hell. But I just kind of knew, it's like, now this is an important day. And I just kind of knew it. And waiting for those days, to know when, like, those are your days you cash your creative check. The essence of doing this or writing songs, separate from learning songs, we're going to come back to that in a moment, is that you're listening to a sound and then trying to translate it, or trying to hear something in your head and kind of go, how do I twist the knobs and flip the switches so I can capture the essence of what I'm doing? And sometimes that thing is elusive enough that you're kind of going, well, now I really like this sound. What if I played that? And you kind of go, ooh. And you're pliable enough in that it's a day that the creative tap is just flowing. And I find that, there are extended periods, they kind of have a tendency to last a couple of weeks. And it's just this up and down thing. And being conscious of that. I love that. Very crafty. It's the hiss is not me. Oh, wait, no, that was me. Okay, good. Guilty as charged. All right. All right. All right. As far as something like "Babe, I'm going to leave you," there are a couple of things that I would encourage you to think about. Again, this little thing up here. There are transitions, and I am famous for, if there's something I could do that's easy, I want to make it difficult. But as an end result, when we learn to practice and run straight at the more difficult things, we just kind of learn to kind of punch through the wall, as opposed to kind of go around it with something that's less challenging. Jimmy Page, when you begin to pull that stuff apart, you're like, gosh, he had a vibe. It just felt, he was just in the flow. And he was magic in the studio. So you're trying to capture, again, what's happening with the feel of the strings. Those albums were really well recorded. The parts were brilliantly played. There was a level of inspiration. And then there's just the technique. It's just like, wow. So the point being is breaking it into bite-sized pieces and not being, kind of bummed that sometimes just looping a 1-bar or a 2-beat section just to get the transition. And that's how we get it. And, there's a thing that I'm working on with my students. And I am spending hours every day working on my technique, really trying to break through some other things. So for me, 2 notes on one string, whether it's a 2-in-1, two notes on this string and 1 note on that string, or 1 on this string and 2 on that one. That is one of the banes of my existence, that I'm just like, you know what? I'm done not being able to do that, and I'm done kind of avoiding it, and instead I'm running right at it. And so, you know, a week later, I'm kind of like, all right, I get it. When I try and practice it too fast, that's not how I build muscle memory. So there's something I do called subdivision method. Eighth note triplets. I'm going to just play these three notes: G, A, and B. Well, F, G, and A technically because I'm down a whole step. But it's just eighth note triplets 2 times, and 16th note triplets 4 times. Takes up the same amount of space, and doing that whole thing 4 times. And what it does, it just really builds that muscle memory where your fingers just kind of go, you know, and I think I probably wasn't looking. Up. And that's the other thing I've been working with people, and this is the thing, is like buttering to the edge of the bread. The dismount, especially when you get to that last note, that's the one that you have a tendency to miss. And that's the sort of thing guys like Paul Gilbert never miss. So the idea of just taking and practicing that and nailing those transitions is how you do it. Again, that's that target on isolating, whether it's Hotel California, whether it's Babe, I'm going to leave you. That sort of practice where you're really building the muscle memory, literally to the point where your hands just can't play the wrong thing. And as far as the string skipping thing, I started to talk about the Swedish guitar method, and I left that one on the doorstep. It's my fretting hand, broken index finger, ring and little finger tips. Tips cut off. Wow. Yeah. You might want to try something interesting. Capoing. You might put a heavier set of strings on your acoustic. You're going to most likely need to make a truss rod adjustment or have somebody make a truss rod and capo it a little bit further up the neck. And that way, playing it further up the neck where the frets are a little bit closer to each other, that might be a way to just make life a little bit easier, and you'll be able to play it in the actual key so you can play it along with the recording if you so desire, which I presume you do. By the way, Moises, M-O-I-S-E-S, is a great way to strip out the backing track so you can say, hey, Jimmy, thanks so much. Me and Robert, we got this, right? And you can practice with or without with Jimmy in there, or you can turn Jimmy down. You can basically extract those tracks as stems and bring them into a DAW, and then kind of bring Jimmy either down or maybe pan him a little bit to one side. Just have him there just as a little guide to play along with. But that might be something that you can do. Paul Richard. Let's see, where is my... so the great thing about the new stuff, and Melissa gave me a little bit of a hard time last week about, you just can't, and I kind of enjoy jumping off frame because you're really not supposed to do it, which is kind of, I remember Joe talking about the rules, and he just said, he always, wondered why there were rules, and I think sometimes enjoy breaking them. So Roswell Pro Audio, I've got a pair of other mics floating around here. Most everything has a living spot, but my microphones, there we go, hang on. I'll be back in a second. Here we go. My microphones do not have a living spot down here yet, but they're about to. So Roswell Pro Audio. So they make great, really, really affordable microphones. This is the Mini K47. Mini K87. This is the Mini K67X. That means it's got a transformer in it. Not that I can tell you what the transformer is doing, but it's doing something. But it's a great mic. I've got it up there. I was using a shotgun. I love using shotguns, but this room has nice treatment in it. But when you get a microphone really close to the ceiling, it gets the reflection. Oh, there we go. Thank you. I am obviously not hip and young enough. I vaguely remember that from one of my students. Hey, Brad, welcome back. Thank you very much. You know, the studio is actually coming along, and me and finding places where things live. It means I can get back to work, which is really exciting. Transformer is either stepping the voltage up or down. Brett, thank you very much. What would I do without you? So this one's got the transformer, and it's supposed to. My understanding is it makes it sound a little bit different. It treats the transients in a slightly different way. And so the thing about a shotgun is it's my favorite way to pick up sound. The way the shotguns are designed in these long kind of things, there are holes in the side that aid in the canceling of backgrounds, audio, or sound, such that whatever it's pointed at, it's very directional. And at the same time, it picks kind of up what's in front of it while rejecting stuff that's from the side. So again, if there's a sound source and that sound is reverberating in the space, or there's side noise like you're in a cafe, it's a great solution. I've spent a lot of time miking voice in video, be it here or every so often doing for hire stuff. One thing about lavaliers, especially if you've ever worked with women, they almost all have danglies, necklaces, jewelry, and generally speaking, when women get ready to do any type of thing when they're in video, out come the earrings and the necklace. It's just like the accessory thing. No fault of theirs, because they want to look accessorized for video. The challenge is those are instant noise makers. They rub against the mic, they pull against the mic, and so on and so forth. So for me, a shotgun is either a great secondary or backup solution. But if you've got them too close to the ceiling, even though there's side rejection, it still hears the sound bouncing off the ceiling. And one of my least favorite sounds is a microphone about that far from the ceiling. So this guy is not, it's literally right just out of frame there. And I've been super, super impressed. It actually sounded better right down here. But here we go. Bobby Valdez, good morning. I personally hate, unless it's in front of a speaker cabinet, seeing a microphone in frame. And right now it's very fashionable to have your microphone here. But there will come a time when people are going to look back and kind of go, really? I think I could be wrong. And, the other thing is it's a great way to bang, nail that puppy with your guitar. There are better ways to pick up audio that you don't have to see the mic. That's what I think. Paul, thank you. So this is the Mini K67X, and I love this thing. Love it, love it, love it. And also, I'm going to be doing some mic demos for the good folks at Roswell Pro Audio. They're just lovely. I've known Matt, the founder of that company, and we're going to do some YouTube content around recording. By the way, if y'all have any recording questions, bring them on. Bobby Valdez, have I here's the thing. 6-string root E-form arpeggios. It's not months, it's years. I have been working to get that little dealio. We'll play you for a minute. I've got that thing muted. So these guys right here, my hand just doesn't want to do that. So oh. So I'm about 3 months of diligent practice of being able to just fly through those, because now with subdivision, method practice on these, I'm like, 3 months from now, I'll be like, okay. Have I ever worked on a liquor pattern that has taken you months of steady work and find a progression, but not there yet? There's also this guy. This little sequence is what is the bane of my existence. That's 4 notes across 3 strings. Trying to do it too fast. And that right there at the place that you can play it and just dig in. I know that's what to do, and I just still like, I don't know, if I play it fast, kind of right enough times, I'll learn it. I'm just like, no, 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 no. So, but the great thing is like, and the same thing. I'm like, I can feel, oh, this is going to happen. And I got to tell you, that feeling of just like, there it is. I know I'm going to get it. It's one of the most rewarding feelings. I've been playing and practicing for a long time. The crazy thing about this guitar, it's 2 years old. You can't see it, but basically the frets are worn out. It's not like they use crappy fret wire. I've played this guitar night and day and night. Just the point being is that, practicing. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, the funny thing is that for those of us that are techie, those things matter a lot. And the funny thing is there are things that matter to me that I know most people. And I don't mean like, most people will never notice. I mean, most people will never notice. It's like, they're just like, I don't know, it's a mic. But for me, these things are very important because it's part of the presentation. It's actually, when you've got a distracting sounding microphone, it gets in the way of the presentation. The idea is, in theory, you shouldn't really notice too much compression. It sounds like you're on the air. Or a mic that's in frame, blah, blah, blah. I did like the sound of it. That's right down. Doug, that's a tough one. Oh, yeah, no, so the whole thing of just then kind of, and I love that photo. I'm like, okay. I use Gary Brower for everything. He is the greatest, and I would actually say he's a dear friend. My life without Gary Brower would be just a different experience. I am very fortunate that I've known him for 4 decades at this point, right? So there's so much history of just kind of not only being a customer but kind of becoming friends, and I'm very fond of him, and I think he's pretty fun. We even have this strange little we do this, we got to shake it. We do this it was just one of the things that happened. We bring our fist to our forehead and then we do a fist bump. It's the funniest thing. Like, I'm not quite sure how it happened, but it's just kind of like, it's really cute. And he's just a lovely guy. And we had, we speak a couple of times a week, and he's just the best. His frets are the best. So, we've known this guitar is going to need a refret. Let's see if I can make it through these album things. All right. So, my buddy Chris Alexander, JS, face, heart, shape. Hello, brother. What's going on? Face, red, heart, shape. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great to see you. There you go. Hang on a second, Paul. I'd love to see you interview, have a live chat with Brower. We had a very interesting conversation yesterday that I can't go into. But if I get a chance to do what I want to do, you will see Gary and myself. He's not a guy that traditionally likes to be in front of the camera. Most of the people that, are techs or involved in kind of helping other players do their things generally are most comfortable behind the camera. And I find that when they are too interested in getting in front of the camera, their motivation is no longer about how can I best serve the musician. And that's the thing that Gary, is so impressive. He's just really, he's helped me put together these instruments that are the most important instruments for me. So, Chris Alexander asked me this other question about dreaming songs. And are there any songs that have happened in a dream or whatever? And there is a song. And there's a studio version of it, but that's not ready to for prime time. But let's see here. Let's take. Oh, what is this? You know what? I'm going to mute this, and you'll get a little Carolina Sunshine. I'm not going to. Well, who knows what I'm going to play? There is a version that's got some out of tune slide, but the point being is this is a song that the just got all these really weird parts, and I woke up and it was just in my head. Yeah.
Something in the water, it's in my blood. Comes from the soul, up from the mud. Fresh like spring water on a warm summer's day. Carolina sun shining down on my face. Not to say we don't have hard times or struggle or two, but that's the way that life is. So what you gonna do? I love New York City and California too, but that hustle and that bustle, babe, can take its toll on you. Sitting in the sunshine, throwing back a beer, nothing but a real good time. Feet in the river, laid on the pole, watching the clouds go by, living that good life, feeling mighty fine, sipping that sweet, sweet wine in that Carolina sunshine. Our roots go deep, we got history.
So yeah, Paul, you're awesome. So that is. I had my first dream song last night. I love that. Congratulations, excellent. So, just for pisses and giggles, I had this idea for a band name. Came to me in my sleep. And I'm like, oh, I'll remember that in the morning. Woke up the next morning. Gone. It's one of those things where you can it's almost like you've got the box that you remember that there's this thing inside there. I remember the dream. I remember that it came to me. Can't remember the name for the life of me. Pretty much gone. So the idea is like hum it, record it, nail it. There almost undoubtedly is a voice memo from that first moment that happened. So I made sure not to miss that one. Thank you, Braden. Sounds like Richie Godson singing. So, the interesting thing is, that's a guy named Caleb Johnson. That is definitely not me. He won American Idol. There's a version of him singing Dream On that is just unreal. My favorite vocalist. We have amazing writing and musical chemistry from my perspective. And I frequently tell Melissa, I can't believe I found this guy. Oh, I'm going to be so naughty. I'm going to play a little bit of another song. Benny Speech, California, no hustle here. That's so funny. Something tells me that is... so I'm going to play a little bit of Linger. I don't think Caleb's going to mind. Actually, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't do that because it's the Venice Beach, California. No hustle here. There we go. Jerry, I agree. So, is there anything else here? Oh, you know what? I know what I'm going to play. I listened to a little bit of And there are things about this guitar. As I'm putting songs together, there are times that I am figuring a few things out. So these guitars are still a work in process. That's not the thing I want. These aren't the drones you're looking for. Drones you're looking for. Slave to the grind. Rough. There we go. Let's try a little bit of slave to the grind.
When I was just a boy, my mama said, son, there's more to life than just the girls and fun. Gotta pay your dues like your daddy did. It put him in the grave, but that's the way it is. Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. The mean old boss, well, he ain't no friend. Watching my life going down the drain. This job of mine is like a ball and chain. I hate the job, I hate the pay. Run myself a ragged till my dying day. What's the point in caring? What's the use in trying? 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm just a slave to the grind. Well, I work my fingers to the bone and my body's a wreck. Living hand to mouth and check to check. Like my daddy said on his dying day, I got one boot on the other foot's in the grave. I wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. The mean old boss, well, he ain't no friend. Watching my life going down the drain. This job of mine is like a ball and chain. I hate the job, I hate the pay. Run myself a ragged till my dying day. What's the point in caring? What's the use in trying? 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm just a slave to the grind.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. The mean old boss, well, he ain't no friend. Watching my life going down the drain. This job of mine is like a ball and chain. I hate the job, I hate the pay. Run myself a ragged till my dying day. What's the point in caring? What's the use in trying? 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm just a slave to the grind.
Uh, hey! Oh, hey, thank you very much. Much appreciated. That song is. I am not fast about this process, but much appreciated. That is one of the first songs that Caleb and I wrote together. It's about 2 years young, and it was one of the songs that. Less is more is a magical thing. Thank you very much, Greg. Hey, great to see you, my man. I always love that photo. Paul Richard. Wow, thank you. And I have been called worse things than Doig, and I know that's a typo. Thank you, Braden. Much appreciated. No, that's okay. I'm one of my favorite things in a strange, twisted way is when I end up with tech support, and I know I'm in the Philippines. I'm waiting for dog. I just know it's coming because that's how and it's not a slight. It's just kind of funny. I know it's coming. I just like, here it comes, dog. So in any case, so Doig is, believe it or not, I've seen many times. And so, in case you don't know, let's just kind of go there. My given name is Doppelt, Doppelt. I've seen it spelled Drupal, Dopplet, and the funny thing is that it's so close. So Doppelt, Doppler. It's so close. When it was time to put out my first CD back in 1995, dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. I kind of had, there were these things called record stores, Tower Records, and I kind of remember going in and looking at the bin going, if people go to look to find my CD and they can't spell my name, I have a serious problem. So, I think I'm just going to change it, and literally that's kind of what it is, but it is what it is. I'm related. I can assure you I'm related. What are their names? So it's an interesting thing. Charlie Doppelt invented the Dopp kit. And Laurel Fishman was Steve Vai's once manager. So back in the early days, 1984, when I went to Los Angeles, and this guy named Joe gave me this guy Steve's phone number. It's like, hi, I'm a student of Joe's. And then I met Laurel Fishman. So Charlie Doppelt, who's kind of like a one or two generations above me, Andy Doppelt. Is he an attorney? There, I can assure you, I'm related. Tell him I said hello. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks. All I'm going to say is this: I'm a practicing Christian because my life was a mess, and then kind of I had this great kind of spiritual transformation and awakening. That's all I'm going to say. Don't need to beat anybody over the head with my personal walk. That's not what I do. But before that, my lineage, I remember in Chicago, being a young man, going to some apartment buildings, and one of the relatives, and I don't remember, Milwaukee insurance guy. I played hockey with Bob Doppelt. Tell him I said hello. He rolled up his arm, his sleeve, and there was this tattoo on his forearm, and he had been tattooed, of course, in one of the concentration camps, made it out. So it's been an interesting time. Although I'm a practicing Christian, I'm still Jewish. And I can, I generally stay out of this, but all I can say is that it is an interesting time to watch the temperature of anti-Semitism in the United States. And it's ugly. And we'll leave it there. So, all right. On to brighter subjects. Musicians, a little bit of advice. It's an interesting thing because, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter where you do it, there will always be distractions, and kind of the current political climate. It does have me kind of checking the news more than I normally would. So we all have things that will happen in our lives. So you want to kind of figure out how you're going to strike that balance between the things that would actually inspire you, and also the things that don't inspire you. Back to the Dopp kitchen. There we go. The Dopp tent. So the musically speaking, it's an interesting thing because I'm very excited about this 15-minute fundamentals thing, but I've decided to take a little bit of time to really true that, Tom. Hey, I'm Doig, so I'm good with that. In any case, the great thing is that, again, I love the fact that we have this common gift of music, right? I mean, it's just like, it's one of the most incredible things. Thank you. Yes and amen. We think about us hanging out here. We've met many of us at guitar camps or just kind of through the web, but we get together and we share our love and our passion for music and gear. Holy cow. So, Doig's Dopp Kitchen, I love that. Oh, I gotta remember that. All right, so look, I've got a day of teaching, and I actually have a little bit of stuff I need to kind of do. Just to recap, I encourage you to spend some time getting super comfortable with this left-hand thing. The key of C is a great place to start. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We're going to the triad. C, D, E, F, G, C, E, G, D, E, F, G, A, D, F, A, E, F, G, A, B, E, G, B, F, G, A, B, C, F, A, C, G, A, B, C, D, G, B, D, A, B, C, D, E, A, C, E, B, C, D, E, F, B, D, F, and C, D, E, F, G, C, E, G. C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, Z, G, B, D, A, C, B, D, F, C, E, G. Those triad note groups, no matter what key you're in, will always be the 1, 3, 5. So if you're in a key of G, the F becomes an F sharp. So it's G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D. So then I'm kind of pointing at my 1, 3, and 5 fingers. G, B, D, A, C, E. And one of the things you can do, you had me at G, B, D. Oh, melting my heart right there. Do I pronounce it? Is it, I'm going to just go with Chen. But let me know if I got that right. Is it a hard C? Music is the only religion. I am hooked, I got to tell you. Okay, great question. All right, first of all, so one of the videos, and so I'm in the midst of doing the first real gear demo that I've done since we installed a sump pump, because when the rain would get really heavy here, the ground super saturates because there's a lot of clay in the soil, and it would come up in the corner of my garage, and it was like Mount Vesuvius. It was just like a spring. Not good. So in the process, I kind of moved the orientation of my room and decided I was going to organize things so things had an actual place to live. It's been a really long process. I thought it was going to take a long time. It took way longer than a long time. But now that I'm there, there's a bunch of content that I'm going to be making, one of which is going to be around choosing the right modeler for you. And it's a matter of looking at the different things. We've kind of already had, that conversation this morning. It's like, how much does size matter? The Katana Go, was it, right? So the thing about this new IK pedal that I am absolutely, no. Yes, the world we live in. So how small does the device need to be? as it relates to Line 6 versus maybe Tonex. Do you want to capture your own gear, or is it okay just to have a library that somebody else has meticulously captured? Those are different things. Doesn't need to be stereo. Do you have the ability, to download from the cloud and get other people's presets? Is that, what's the preset library? Do you like a touch screen or not a touch screen? Do you want a great deep editor? These are all these peripheral things that collectively, at this point, somebody mentioned my buddy Brian Wall from Warship Tutorials. He's a dear friend, and we speak. In fact, he texted me a second ago. We speak a couple times a week, and that guy knows gear and tone, and knows Fractal, knows Kemper, knows Tonex, knows fill in the blank. Those different platforms are out there. This Tonex little, which pedal is it? Tonex 1. I'm like, all right, I got to have one of those. I saw Ola's demo. I was like, dang. So it's this little kind of mini pedal. And this is where the technology is getting to the point where it's just like, it's so good. I kind of have to have one of those. And I actually, I know somebody over at IKEA, I think. I'm like, I want to get my hands on one of those. The other thing is, for those of us who have gear collections and want to potentially capture those and put them up on a marketplace, does the platform have a marketplace for selling your sounds if you can capture them? This is one of the things about the Quad Cortex. It's just like I keep waiting for them to add a marketplace. I've got some really outstanding gear here that I want to have the opportunity to capture, and if people want to buy it, then so be it. I also have kind of a lending buddy of mine that has some amazing amps. Those two boogies and one of those cabinets and a bunch of the other gear, and then that belongs to a buddy of mine. That's a Rev G dual rectifier that is just savagely good. So these are things that I've got. An old Ampeg V2, which was the Steve Morse amp back in the day, also used all over Rocks, which is one of the greatest classic rock albums. PV Mace over there. There's a trio. Any Dimebag Darrow fans? There is a trio of Randall stacks over there. A JTM 45-100 PA head is the sound. It's interesting. I remember plugging into it and going, that's the sound of the original studio recording of Tommy, which I thought had been done on AC30s. And I was like, I know that sound. And I went in and Googled, and sure enough, JTM 45-100 PA head. It's exactly what he was using. I was like, holy cow. Excuse me, it's a JTM 100, not JTM 45-100. But there was the Jimi Hendrix JTM 45-100 that's here, and it's just all this crazy stuff. So I'm super excited to capture that and have the ability to bring it to market. So, any case. Right, best live setup pedal format. Now, hang on, Eric. Now, do you mean for taking, for example, I've been spending a bunch of time with my Helix. I just if I'm playing on a Sunday, I just kind of bring the Helix. It just does such a great job of doing that, and it lives in stomp mode the entire time. I never change patches. I generally don't even beat sync the delays unless I really have to. So I'm just kind of turning different stomps on and off. But it's an interesting thing about that. All right, the Tonex one is incredible. Not buying anything now because such incredible stuff is coming out fast for us, so it's crazy. Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Phil. Much appreciated. Line 6 Go does not have MIDI. Boss Katana has Go has sessions, so it has. There we go. Come on, my mouse over is hidden. There we go. Song-based MIDI control. One day we need to talk about gear insurance for home and on the road. Yes, we have insurance here. There was a guy that I at one point had some different insurance for, and yes, the Line 6 versus the Tonex stuff. Okay, good. Okay, great. We'd love to hear your demos on the two latest. So noted. Okay. Okay. It's not going to happen for a minute. The other thing is that it's a funny thing. I played this the other week. I'm going to play this again. I just No, I'm not going to do it because I played it the other week. The funny thing is, I'll just say this. There was a bunch of stuff before I started working with Boogie that as I was in the process of making these albums, Katana, Catalyst, Katana, I use the Catalyst on a bunch of stuff, and it sounds great. And there's a bunch of it that's gonna make it to the final albums because I'm like, that totally works. So the point being is that all the technology sounds great. I really love little Katana. It's this very it's $400 amp, the 112. I think it's a 100-watt model. Just a great little amp. And what's great about it is the direct out, either into the PA or into your DAW, sounds like what's coming out of the front of the amp, and that is huge. That's one of the most important things. All right, the Daughter's Dance Recital. I love that. All right, hey everybody, I've got some other things I need to jump into. Thank you so much for hanging out. Love you dearly. I've settled on the Tone Master Pro for church and the amps for the clubs. So, again, this is kind of, there are times that you want different things. Now, I saw a photo of your new amp, so who can blame you? I love my Katana, same one using my GT100. So, yeah, that's a very cute photo. The Boss stuff is great and really it does not get the love it deserves. It's really, really well designed. And the sounds are great. And before I kind of started using the Catalyst, there was a bunch of stuff, and I don't think any of it's going to make it to the recording, but I was using the GT1000 Core. Great piece of gear. Check out the latest guitar of Lincoln Brewster. So I take it you saw that Fender there. But by the way, in case any of you aren't familiar with Lincoln Brewster, great guitar player, worship guitar player, but he's got an instrumental album that is going to drop probably this year. And he has a new signature guitar that's got this kind of, I can't describe the finish other than it's kind of like a pearlescent alpine white. Well, I guess I just did. But the playing on it is great, and the tones are sweet. So thanks for that, Chen. All right, everybody. Love you dearly. See you next week. Thanks so much. Have a great one. Really appreciate your hanging out. Always a pleasure. Makes my day. Thank you.